Hello.
Did you change your username or something? Because
Yeah,
I didn't know it was you.
that happens. That happens.
That's so weird. I expected someone else because I didn't know this was you. That's so funny.
Surprise! It's me.
Surprise. Okay, so yep, let's begin. And we don't necessarily have to do this for 45 minutes. And I think I don't really have so much to say that I would cover for 45 minutes. So yeah, I'll do as much as possible.
That's fine.
Okay, so this house would not grant citizenship at birth to the children of foreigners on domestic soil. I think for me, this idea is mainly with associated with like giving citizenship to foreigners, and then I think there is a benefit for a lot of underdeveloped, or let's just say developing countries, to actually go and have birth in the developed countries, because there are some countries like the USA and Canada which automatically gives you, if in case you just give birth to a baby here, you know. So I
Hmm.
think this gives people a benefit to actually do those kind of activities. And I think a research actually says that 8% of 4.3 million in 2008 were children of people who had entered the country illegally. So you see, like, there is a large group of people that entered. Like, some people might do it legally, but still, like, some people do it illegally too, and then give birth, and then yeah, and I think there is somehow like an industry that is releasing out of it. That is, I think, said maybe birth tourism or something. There's actually a thing like this because there are
Hmm.
agencies that work. Yeah, there are actually profitable services that involves helping pregnant women come to America to just give birth. So there is this controversial industry, I think, that is rising, is birth tourism as well. So I think I have issues with that. And again, I think it solely undermines the notion of being a citizen, because I think it's more about a mutual relationship to which both the nation and the individual must consent. But again, if in case it's just someone, a foreigner, coming in and then giving birth to a baby, I think that notion does not apply in that case. And yeah, so I think for all those reasons, I think this is not a good
Yeah.
idea. You
I can hear you. Oh no.
can't hear me?
Hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Can you hear me now?
Hmm.
Oh, wait. I'm gonna try something. Stay right there, okay? Okay. This is weird. This is weird. Now I hear you.
Uh-huh.
Okay, okay, there we go. That was weird. So go on.
I did. It's
Okay,
your
okay, so
turn now.
okay, so my function is that that while there is the issue of illegal immigration, because there's a famous case where on a plane, where a lady was on a plane, and so she was actually going into labor on the plane, and so she was asking if she was over U.S. soil. And so you can tell that she was from China, and she's trying to make sure that her child had an American passport.
Uh-huh.
But I still agree that, but I still view that the children of foreigners should still be granted citizenship at birth. Because the main reason why is because the main reason why is because of the birth rates of most native countries.
Hmm.
Because for example, U.S. For example, U.S. without immigration. without immigration birth rate, actually has one of the lowest birth rates in the world. South Korea has an atrocious birth rate without immigration. Everyone knows about Japan's birth rate problem, where, where Japan's birth rate is so atrocious that within 300 years they'll be extinct, and it's the fact that they will be extinct 300 years due to the birth rate problem. And but what compounds is that both Japan and South Korea, they are notoriously xenophobic. They're notoriously xenophobic, and so they implement laws that make it hard for immigrants to come in and make it hard to grant citizenship. So kind of a balancing where where the U.S. has been open about it, but of course it leads into the whole issue of people exploiting a system because there's a concept of the anchor babies because because that is a true thing that people that a plan to make that people would come into countries and they plan to stay in the country, giving birth in that country while they're pregnant. But but the thing is but the thing is that the cases of that happening aren't as are actually pretty rare because compared to the immigrants giving birth and compared to the actual illegal immigrants giving birth, this is because there are many times, about 100 times more legal immigrants giving completely legitimate births than illegal immigrants giving births. But I'll let you counter. This is something here different points.
Okay, so you was your point that maybe Japan, like because it has low birth rates, so we should allow more immigrants to go in and then have children there? Was that kind of your point? And then do you think that's what the US is doing?
because because what I was saying was that was that was that countries like U.S. and Japan, whose birth rates are naturally low, they actually depend on on immigrant births to keep up with their birth rates to make sure that people are actually continuing to live in the country.
Okay. So on that note, I think even in terms of legal, again, I think legal immigration would not really be a big problem on this because I think if people are coming like for, let's just say, um, if some people like just come and they have a green card or something, they have like the DV thing, diversity lottery. So if in case those things happen and then they're actually going to stay here, I think that's a different thing. But let's just say people who come here for travel, for a vacation, or again illegal immigrants too, like who just they just come maybe by passing the border or um and I think not just that, it's weird, but I know a few people personally who didn't
Mm-hmm.
really have anything, like literally nothing, but I don't know how did they come to US. Like they didn't have maybe they might have a passport, but they need a certain reason to come to US. But I don't know, it's weird. They are illegal and I know them, but still it's weird. So, there are people like that who come to the
You're
States,
there.
and I think on this part, I think a country has certain obligation to reserve its resources to people who live here, let's just say who are citizenship of this nation. And I think who have the citizenship of this nation, or let's just say who actually want to come here and then let's just say be productive, or because I think that's why they have a lot of Indians in the Silicon Valley. Like they come here for studies and then they actually hire them and then because they want to advance their resources, right? But again,
Oh boy. Okay. Okay.
okay,
Okay.
you wanna
Okay.
say something on
Now that we
that?
brought actually 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 you stepped right into a trap because because guess what?
Uh-huh.
I live in Los Angeles. I live in Los Angeles.
Uh-huh.
I live right by Silicon Beach
Mm-hmm.
because I know all. I've been to Silicon Valley
Mm-hmm.
so many times, and so but the secret issue is over H-1B visas because you are right. Because although please do it, please go. And they brought in the Silicon Valley because the biggest issue is not is not immigrants giving birth. Nah, that's actually good. Our birth rate's terrible, but the big issue is corporations bringing in migrant workers and then charging them for pennies on and then charging them for pennies on the dollar because it's proven fact that when Microsoft, Apple, and Google when they bring in their employees, they in fact save a lot more money because they actually give them much lower wages than the actual native citizens of the country because the way they do it is that they go because is that they go, okay, we will sponsor your visa, we will sponsor your green card, but in return you get lower pay. In return, it's reduced everything. That's because that's why I was laughing when he brought up. He was like, "You fell into the trap."
Okay, but
You fell into the
but
trap.
how does that relate to this topic?
Because because this is the topic because the because what you brought up is a completely different issue because show that the issue is not granting citizenship at birth, but rather private businesses exploiting migrant workers.
Look, again,
So
again on that notion, I mean, I don't know, I didn't put that on the negative side. I said like they bring in people to, let's just say, advance
yeah,
their resources here, right? So
mhm.
yeah, that was my point. And then I think that's what a country does, like reserves its resources for the citizen who actually live here, the residents, I would say. So I think but again, I think if in case you are letting someone else exploit those resources, I think you are disadvantaged because um let's say if someone is a US citizen, the person is technically like most probably like going to live in the States, work here. Like just even if he goes back somewhere and then he again comes back here, he gets back his money here because that's how it works. But let's just say someone who just comes on here for vacation and then gives birth, and then I think then you're giving a check to not just the baby, but also their parents to actually advance
so
with this.
so so on that note, I would like to bring up an equivalent point.
Uh-huh.
What about U.S. citizens who exploit the welfare system? Because wouldn't they also be in the same category where they would be unproductive, sapping the resources of other people?
Mm-hmm.
Because 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 the thing is that multiple groups are exploiting loopholes.
Mm-hmm.
That is true. Multiple groups are exploiting loopholes, but but just because but just because a bunch of people are are ruining a good gig doesn't mean that it should be changed. All that needs to be changed is is removing the reason why. And the reason why is because businesses are attracting these workers by going hey, guess what? By going, hey, guess what? We'll sponsor you. We'll sponsor you. We'll sponsor you. Come come to us to sponsor you. And then we'll charge you like $5 an hour. We'll charge you like $5 an hour. Oh yeah, it's a gig. And then, but also what happens typically is that is that with these migrant workers, is migrant is that is that it's often proven that the children of these immigrants have a net return on society. Because in fact, because also why citizenship at birth is needed is because yeah, it is in fact because And that's because first generation people often contribute more to society than third, fourth, fifth generation. Because, in fact, if you look at the people who launch corporations, 9 times out of 10, they're usually a first or second generation immigrant. And because the thing is that they would not be able to get the funds or get funds to start their corporations if they were not citizens. Because you would need because for many loans and stuff, you would need to be what is that? A citizen. And, and that's the point is that is that citizenship at births, while there are occasionally anchor babies, overall, it's a net return investment.
I mean I'm pretty confused like with the connection I think you see in these two areas. I mean I get that somehow, but I'm not so much clear because I think here I'm being more specific to birth, like A's.
Yeah,
I don't know how do I say, but yeah, I missed the link properly.
because I'm connecting the birth to the reason to the reasons why they come. Because because instead of attacking granting citizenship birth itself, it should target of the reasons why they would want citizenship in the first place, or how they get here in the first place. Because of course there's a famous case of ladies just going overstaying their visa, but but often but oftentimes it's because oftentimes it's because these companies attract these new illegal immigrants. These, like I said, these illegal immigrants, and these immigrants give birth, but because they don't have an actual work, because they don't have an actual green card, the only way they can stay is by having anchor babies. And that's coming in the topic of citizenship at birth.
Again, on that note, if in case they're coming on a certain kind of visa for work, and then they'll not be illegal immigrants. If in case they're coming here like for a certain form of work, they have a certain visa for that, so they will not be illegal. And then let's just say on that note, let's just say if in case they work here and they have like a contract with Silicon Valley, let's just say for 5 years or so. So Silicon Valley has no right to restrict them to have babies or let's just say marry, right? Because they're under a contract here, they have to work, but then that does not restrict the right for them to, get in, not be in touch with their personal lives, not marry or not have a baby. So it's their decision again on that note because they're under a contract and they're actually serving the country somehow. And again, I think, as I said, the notion of citizenship in a mutual being in a mutual relationship with the nation and the individual, like giving
Actually,
mutual consent. Uh-huh.
act, actually, many Silicon Valley corporations were busted for using undocumented workers, for using illegal immigrants,
Mm-hmm.
because I'll ask you a question: what are the top 4 countries illegal immigrants come from?
No idea.
Come on,
Maybe
come
maybe
on.
is it from African nations?
No.
No.
Okay,
Okay,
I'll
so
tell
where
you.
are you okay? Go ahead.
Okay, so number one, of course, Mexico,
Of course, Mexico is there.
but number two, Philippines.
Okay, Philippines. Okay, that's
Number
interesting.
three, India.
Ooh,
Number four, China.
all Asian countries.
Yes,
Dang.
yes, because and that's the thing is that the thing is that these corporations get busted for hiring the undocumented immigrants from China, from India, from the Philippines. Because things that most people come under the assumption that illegal immigrants are just a bunch of Mexicans. No,
Mhm.
actually, a lot more from the Asian countries than than from South or Latin American countries. Because that's saying that actually back in June, Microsoft got busted
Mhm.
because 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 they hired 100 undo- undocumented workers who came from both China and from India, and it turned and it turned out that the reason and it turned out that ironically a large portion actually about 40% of those undocumented workers they came to U.S. while pregnant.
Is that 40%? Or
Yep. Because it connects my point because it gets the point that that oftentimes people come in through undocumented means and then the undocumented means and they never get and they're not able to get actual official documentation as I like to call it and as a result the only way they can stay there is is through anchor babies. It's often through anchor babies and then and then they then they exploit the resource. As you said, they exploit the resources to get an education, and they end up with these companies.
okay. On that note, so look, if in case the government actually is allowing illegal immigrants to come in, so there's a problem in the government, I would say. I think there's a problem in the Department of Homeland Security, if you see, because if in case they're allowing those people to come in, like I mean, definitely maybe with a cross check or anything, but I think if in case there's flaw in that, so I think that's a problem that arises from the government level on this one. So I'm not saying that there are no problems like this, but again, I think the stakeholder in this case is not the person, but I think is Microsoft. Because if in
Mm-hmm.
case Microsoft as a company is doing that, the stakeholder, or let's just say, um, yeah, I think we cannot necessarily put the blame into the individuals who want to do that, because I think if in case Microsoft brings them in, without a certain visa and then wants them to work under them, so I think on that notion, I'd not want the individuals to be blamed for that. Again, because I see the problem more as a government level problem than individual level problem on this case.
Because actually, because I view it as a market problem. because because if there wasn't any opportunity for people who are undocumented, the the rates in which people are the undocumented rates would be much lower. But uh, but in fact they are higher, except for Mexico, a couple other countries. But so I guess my type point is that for is that is that with undocumented immigrants being giving giving anchor births as like to call it that that it that it's about the market and that if you want to cut down on anchor births and undocumented immigrants overall, you would have to to actually confront the companies who are hiring them in the first place.
Yes, I mean I have a yes in that. If Microsoft is doing that, like sue them for that, because that's not. I mean, if in case you're bringing in illegal immigrants to the country and then, if
Mm-hmm.
making them do something, I think it's not. If you see, even in terms of an individual, I think the individual is at disadvantage because the person does not have a legal status, and then if something ever happens, I think the direct impact is going to be on the individual, not the Microsoft, and especially because they have a huge money thing. So, it would help them get out anyway. But I think the individual will be the most impacted in that case too. So I think I do agree that they shouldn't do this, and whatever they are doing is actually unfair. But again, I think let's see, why would people from other countries come and give birth to let's just say a foreign soil? I think necessarily it would be more about the opportunities that you could get in that another soil. So let's just see public education in America. It's in the USA. It's free. So you can go to like high school for free, and then it's not so in other countries because even I think I paid more than if in case I say in the US dollars, it would not sound so much, but from what I paid, I think I paid a huge sum of amount to get like graduated from high school. So I think but again, people, if in case they come to the States, free education, and I think there are like so many other things that comes into account in terms of people wanting to give
Well,
birth to a child.
well,
Uh-huh.
actually, because here's the thing: is that you brought up an interesting point about public education being free and all that.
Oh, you're gone. Oh, I couldn't hear you. Can you repeat that again? It just went off.
Oh, sorry about that. Because you made the point about people coming because public education is free. But the problem with that statement is that U.S. is not the only one, but also because U.S. public education system is it is among the lowest in the developed world, not the world, developed world. Because I like to point out that in these three countries, Norway, Sweden, and Germany, they have completely free education
Oh,
from
okay.
pre-K. Okay.
Those countries do not have the, let's just say, because for the states it's in the 14th Amendment that whoever is born here is the citizen, but countries like Germany, UK, France, they don't have that thing. So even if you give birth, that does not necessarily mean that you have a citizenship there. But Canada and the states, they have this provision, and for the states it's under the 14th Amendment, but for other countries, for other developed countries, no, they don't have that policy. So I think Canada and the states would be the only in the developed countries to have this policy of giving free citizenship at birth.
Actually, about that, I just researched an article from the Washington Post from September of 2017, where they said that that Germany has birthright citizenship.
That's weird because that's what I read yesterday. That Germany is not. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, again, I think even birthright citizenship. Yeah, I think I don't know. Maybe they have some. Yeah, but I should again see it.
because
I don't know. It
this
might have
article's
restrictions
called.
too. Like it might have restrictions too. But again, for the states, it just said everyone who is born on this soil. But it depends on the statement too. I don't know how they have it. But again, that could have confinements too. But that's what I read yesterday.
Because the other point is that what you made is that U.S. has free public education.
Mhm.
But the other point is that U.S. is not the only one, and there are countries that have better education systems than the U.S. because that Germany has a system where it's free from pre-K all the way to university, while in U.S. is free from elementary school
Mhm.
to high
Uh-huh.
school. Because so that Germany has it, Finland has it,
Okay.
Norway
Yeah,
has
I
it.
found something on that. So, Germany and the UK, citizenship is automatically granted to a person if at least one person, like either dad or mom, is a citizen of that nation. Yeah. So not anyone can go on a vacation and give birth and then claim that I have a
Let me check
journey.
this out. Let me check this out. Let me check this out. Actually, because there is naturalization. Because many have exploited the.
Oh, you once again. Okay.
Because I'm checking because it's called the German nationality law, and under it shows adoption and naturalization.
Mm-hmm.
Because all you need to do to prove it is you have to prove that at least one of your ancestors was German.
Mm-hmm. So ancestors were German. Okay.
And do you know how many people have German lineage?
Mm-hmm.
Millions. It's one of the easiest things to ever do. It's just find proof that when your ancestors came from Germany
Mm-hmm.
and you're set. You know, that's the big point. Is that birth and citizenship is one of the easiest things to exploit the country.
Mm-hmm.
But but no matter what, no matter what, there's always people who want to exploit loopholes.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that it'd be more advantageous to go to a country like Germany or or to go to Germany or Finland because the systems are actually
Okay.
better.
Okay.
I'll let you because you want something to say.
Yeah, on that note, I think if you said like it goes by ancestry too, right? By ancestry, if you have, look, again, on that note, I think right to soil, if in case we talk about the right to soil, I agree with that notion. I think if in case it's by the right of blood, that's how it works in many countries, like let's just say Nepal, India, a lot of countries actually. I think just 30 countries have the birthright citizenship, and except in that, all of the countries believe in providing citizenship through ancestry, or let's just say by the right of blood. So if in case Germany is doing that, then I'm completely up for it. Like, I don't oppose it. And I think that's what citizenship should be about, right by the blood of, by the right of blood, or let's just say by right of
Actually,
ancestry.
also,
Also, what?
also because under German law, it says children born after January 1st of 2000 to non-German parents acquire citizenship at birth if at least one parent has a permanent resident permit or has been residing in Germany for at least 8 years.
Again, so how is it possible for anyone to reside in Germany for that long years without having a legal
It's very popular.
thing?
It's
Yes.
very popular.
I mean,
It's not that hard. It's Germany. It's
look,
awesome.
even on that note,
I do that.
you should be able to provide like valid documents to do that. Let's just say there are Americans who are staying here. How much does it take for naturalization in America? Do you know that? I just search up.
Let me check on that.
Yeah. Mm, what does it say?
Okay, so American naturalization is a bit different because actually like a better idea.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Okay, so it says I think 5 years as a permanent resident without leaving the United States. Yeah, what did you say? Like, yeah, I think it's for 5 years, but again, so I have some people who are living here for 5 years already. It's the sixth year, but again, they cannot apply for green card because if in case they do, or they cannot apply for naturalization too because they'll not be able to.
because also
Mhm.
because things that green cards last longer than than residency because residency lasts for 5 years, but green cards last for 10 years.
So is green card is the first state, and then isn't that after green card then you go to naturalization? Because that's how I don't know. I have my some of my family members here, so that's what they do.
Because
Look, I know so
because
many illegal people staying here. That's so weird.
because admittedly the American immigration system is weird. it's weird.
Look, yeah, the point I'm trying to make is that, like, again, even though you stay here for just so many years, it's not an easy thing to get, let's just say, be naturalized or anything, because I think there's a lot of legal matters that come into that. So even in the case of Germany, so as you said, even though they have the naturalization after 6 to 8 years, again, you have to prove the permanent residency until that date. So again, that is going to backstab or just backfire people's intention to be a citizen
Yeah, yeah, because he made a good point,
there.
but
But
but but but, but the thing is that as things that not only but illegal immigrants have a similar problem that they would have in Germany as they would have in US would be that they would have to somehow skirt the system. Well, they have to skirt the system for years before they before they before they would be able to actually be granted residency and all that stuff. But in fact, it'd be easier to do it in Germany because in Germany a lot of services are free because healthcare is free. A lot of that stuff is free. While in America, it's not. And so it would actually be easier to pull off a stunt like that in Germany because the cost of living is mitigated because a lot of stuff is covered. Because in other words, it'd be easier to do a birthright citizenship in in Germany than to be in America.
okay, on that note, the first thing is we talked about how German citizenship only can be given if in case one parent is a resident there. So on which by right of blood, or let's just say by right of ancestry, I say yes, that's okay. Because you have a parent there, so go ahead and do it. That's no problem with me. And again, they don't necessarily do it just by the fact that they were born there. That's another thing. But in the States, they do, even if you're born here, even if your parent is not a permanent resident here, you are actually going to get the citizenship anyway. So I think there's definitely a difference between Germany and the States. And even though you might have better facilities in Germany, it's difficult to land up in Germany and be naturalized again because I think they have stricter regulations in terms of that. That's why and some people always do. Some people just always be illegal and then stay, I think, in every corner of the world. But still, I think,
Yes,
yep.
of course, stuff is free. It's, like, all this stuff is free. Okay, I'll be illegal for free. Like, free healthcare, ooh, free university.
Oh my God, that's funny. Seems like
But
I'll go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, and then I might have to end this up because my charge is running out. But yeah, go ahead and
all
finish your
right.
statement.
Okay, so because I will say that I am looking at the immigration law for Germany because this is it's a win so
Uh-huh.
and so it continues from what you said about residing in Germany for 8 years and all that. Blah, 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 blah. But then it says that for that if both parents are non German citizen, then then after then they're granted temporary citizenship, but but when they reach the age of 23, then they would have to actually take various tests and stuff to prove that they have actually lived in Germany, abided by Germany's rules. And so here's the rules that birthright citizens have to take. It says that number one, you have to reside for at least 8 years during your first 21 years. Then you have to attend a school in Germany for at least 6 years. You have to graduate from the school, and then you have to successfully complete professional training in Germany, all of which is free.
Look again. So that's the problem. It's so lengthy. It's so strict, and you have to cross-check, ting, ting, good, good, and then you get it.
Oh,
But in the
hey,
States, now just get it after you're
American
born.
stuff is really because the American stuff, ours is insane. Ours is insane because as because it's known that the hardest thing ever is to actually become a citizen.
Mm-hmm.
To be a resident, it's easy. You can buy your way, be in school. It's easy. But becoming a citizen, it takes decades. So it kind of balances itself out because with Germany, everything's free. Because most of the largest costs
Mm-hmm.
for families are taken care of by the German government.
Mm-hmm.
While American government, you're on your own. You're on your own. But it's even better with Finland. It's beautiful with Finland. It's like Germany, but on steroids. Number one in education, number one in healthcare.
Oh my God, you should be you should go there then.
Oh no, it's cold over
It's
there.
cold. Oh no,
Yeah,
I don't want cold. Wait, which state are you in?
California.
Oh, is it super cold there?
It's always warm in
Oh, so
California.
that's my place actually because I want to live in places which is always warm. I don't want cold. Never.
Oh, now you're thinking of going, well, I don't want to go to Germany because it's cold. I want to go
Oh
to Norway
yes,
because it's
it's
cold.
super cold out there. I have some German friends and then yeah, but they're really nice people.
Well, I bet they are. Hey,
Yeah.
I, I, hey, if I was given between having everything free and warm weather, I'd be like,
Which one would you go
hmm,
for? I'd go for warm weather.
everything free. I just take a coat.
Ah, no. I hate cold. I think it just takes away everything. It takes away my
Wait,
interest to study, to do things because it's so cold. But still, like
wait.
look, in America, the good thing is that you have heaters inside and then it's warm inside, so you don't have to feel the cold. But in Nepal, you have no heaters with your house. You just have to feel the exact same cold that you feel outside inside too. So that's terrible in Nepal.
Wait, are you in Tennessee?
Yes, I
Or
am.
where are you?
Cleveland.
Oh,
Oh no, I'm in Georgia now.
let's
But
come to California.
but I'm like on the edge actually of Tennessee and Georgia because I just shifted and then it's very near, like it's the borderline. But I go to school in Cleveland, Tennessee. But I'll hopefully be coming to California in April because there's the national tournament happening. I think yeah,
You come to
that fall.
California.
So
You're awesome. I want friends to come to California.
where exactly do you live?
Los Angeles.
Ooh,
Hmm.
that should be fun.
Oh yeah. Just come by. It's going. Let's get some some chicken tikka masala.
Oh, you know chicken tikka masala?
Of course.
Yeah, that's an Indian thing though, but still, like we like
Because
it
the
too.
thing is that there's a lot of Indian places in LA. Like a
Uh-huh.
lot.
You like
I
Indian
love
food?
chicken tikka. Oh, I love it.
It's so yum. And then when we compare American food, nothing, just fried.
Hey, hey, hey. Have you had chili?
No.
That explains it. You haven't had chili.
Mhm.
Once you have chili,
Is it good?
your views your views will change overnight. Going, oh.
I should try it then. Otherwise, I just feel like I see
Wait,
no
you
difference
live in
in.
Georgia.
Mhm.
It's not that hard to find chili in Georgia.
I mean, I have one school, like I have one near my school, so it's just like 5 minutes away from my school in Tennessee.
Just
So,
because the thing is that Americans consider the South to have the best food in the entire country.
ooh,
Yeah,
so I'm in the South now.
yeah, and you're in the South.
Hmm. So let's just
Okay,
see
so
if this is the worst. That's what I feel because I don't like this food. So if this is the best, I don't know what worst could be like.
oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. You're just getting started. You haven't had the best yet.
Okay, bye. It was nice talking to you after.